The automotive industry is facing a predicament.
Well, from struggling to navigate technological changes, stricter regulations, and shifting market needs, things are really in flux. And today, we're going to take a closer look at the problems plaguing the auto industry and what one Ohio lawmaker is doing to fix the problems. We also look at the impending tariffs and what they could mean for the auto industry. The auto industry is the big story today.
According to Global Market Insights, since COVID and during the pandemic, the auto industry has faced numerous challenges ranging from supply chain issues to changes in consumer buying patterns. Despite those struggles, the auto industry has made significant progress over the last few years, primarily due to the noticeable rise in vehicle production and sales. According to the OICA, global vehicle sales reached more than 92 million in 2023. That is nearly 10 million units from 2022, and still some challenges remain.
At the top of the list of concerns here, federal fuel efficiency standards. Originally, the standards were set to take effect in 2027, accelerating production and marketing of the battery and electric vehicles. However, when President Trump took office, the administration started rolling back the mandates, cutting off support for EVs and the charging stations as well.
Already we're seeing the effect of those rollbacks by the Trump administration, with a federal agency announcing this week it is turning off its electric vehicle chargers. The General Services Administration plans to shut down all of its stations across the country. The agency is deeming them not mission critical. The agency will start to remove the chargers as early as next week. It also wants to get rid of any newly purchased EVs.
At the end of last year, multiple automakers announced they were laying off parts of their workforce as they shifted to electric vehicles. And now the sweeping rollbacks are putting them at risk of going out of business. According to a report in the New York Times, the Ford CEO, Jim Farley, said his company could be forced to lay off employees if the Trump administration and subsidies and financial support for EV manufacturing. Ford has invested heavily in factories to produce batteries and electric vehicles in Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Now, if Republicans repeal the Biden-era legislation, those workers' jobs will be at risk. Meantime, U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio campaigned on changing regulations within the auto industry.
He just introduced his first major piece of legislation in the Senate that he says he hopes will help U.S. manufacturers and car buyers. 13 Action News reporter Josh Crew joins us live this afternoon with those details. Josh.
Yeah, Tina Tonia just spoke with Senator Moreno about an hour ago about this bill. Of course, he built a network of dozens of luxury car dealerships before he got into politics. So his first major bill as a freshman senator has the support of big players in the auto industry and advocacy groups. His Transportation Freedom Act rolls back regulations on the industry, including EV mandates put in place by the Biden administration. The bill also includes a 200% tax deduction for wages paid to American workers, allowing companies to lower their tax burden. It would create one set of federal emissions and fuel economy standards for the next 10 years. Moreno says that would prevent automakers from essentially trying to hit a moving target with individual states setting their own standards. He believes that could help bring down car prices.
We got to give the car companies certainty, because at the end of the day, the most important thing we can do as the federal government is make certain that car companies make the cars consumers want to buy, can afford to buy, and that's what this bill aims to make happen.
The bill has the support of General Motors, Stellantis, Toyota, and multiple industry advocacy groups. Stellantis called the bill a common-sense approach that would provide the industry with regulatory stability. More of our interview with the senator about his proposal is streaming now, wherever you watch 13 Action News. Tina?
Meanwhile, President Trump plans to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico starting next week. In a Truth Social post, Trump said illicit drugs such as fentanyl are being smuggled into the U.S. at, quote, unacceptable levels, and that import taxes would force other countries to crack down on the trafficking. The move led Mexico and Canada to respond by emphasizing their existing efforts to already address the issues. This month, Canada also created a so-called fentanyl czar, and Mexico sent 10,000 members of its own National Guard to the border with the United States. President Trump also threatening to double tariffs on China. The proposed additional 10% on Chinese imports would go into effect also on March 4th. Mexico, China, and Canada are America's top 3 trading partners.
President Trump's proposed tariffs could impact cars imported into the United States, causing prices to rise. Jen Sullivan explains how tariffs could impact the entire auto industry.
In the market to buy a new car, be prepared to pay a lot. The average price for a new car last month was over $48,000. That's $11,000 more than 5 years ago, according to Kelley Blue Book, which monitors auto prices.
Obviously, cars today look a lot different than they did 20, 30 years ago. All the technology, that costs money.
Jessica Caldwell with Edmunds, a car expert company, says prices could go up even more this year. That's because President Donald Trump has proposed 25% tariffs on all cars imported to the U.S. beginning in April to incentivize companies to keep jobs in the U.S. and encourage buyers to buy American. But that could cause sticker shock on foreign cars.
That's going to add significant cost.
But it's not just foreign cars that would be impacted. Prices on American cars are likely to go up as well. That's because many U.S. companies have plants overseas and wouldn't be able to move production by the spring.
The auto industry is such a global business now. It's not so regionalized where everything comes from this and that this is where it's sold, this is where it's produced.
The Trump administration has said the tariffs would include semiconductors, a part that is crucial to new cars. But it's not clear if these tariffs would apply to all car parts. If they do, it could mean higher prices to simply repair your car if those parts are made overseas.
If you think you're going to buy a vehicle in the next 6 months or a year and you're worried about all of this, it's probably better to buy sooner rather than later.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Meanwhile, car insurance rates are up nearly 21% for the 12 months ending in February. That's according to the Consumer Price Index data that was just released this week. Mary Bell Aber has some ways that you can save.
It's good news, bad news when it comes to your auto insurance. The bad news, rates are expected to keep rising this year. The good news, the increases are expected to be at a slower pace than recent years. Now this year, the Insurance Information Institute is forecasting the average countrywide personal auto rate will increase by 7%. That's down from estimates of 14% in 2023 and 12% last year. Financial website Bankrate has some tips on how you can minimize your rate increase or maybe even lower it. It recommends reading your renewal letter. It should give you a clearer picture of why your rate went up, and knowing what caused a rate increase can help you decide if it's time to shop around and switch carriers. Also consider a higher deductible if you can afford it. It usually results in lower premiums, but take stock of your financial situation first. Keep in mind your deductible should always be an amount of money you can reasonably pay out with little notice. And double check how many drivers are on your policy. If you've got a teen living at home, your car insurance company may have automatically added them.
For more information on how you can save on auto insurance, you can check out all of the information that we've talked about, plus all of the other things going on with the auto industry and the Trump administration. We will be on your side with you every step of the way. All you have to do is download the 13 Action News app. It's available as a free download in your phone's app store.